There are moments in history when everything changes, not with a single explosion or a dramatic charge, but with a quiet shift no one fully understands until it's too late. February 1905 was one of those moments. Russian artillery commanders stood on ridgelines, watching their men vanish under precise, relentless shell fire. Not scattered, not random, perfectly calculated, and the most terrifying part? There was nothing to shoot back at. No smoke, no muzzle flash, no visible enemy. Just impact after impact, as if the battlefield itself had turned against them. This wasn't just a new weapon. If you're drawn to the moments where history quietly rewrites the rules of power, where innovation beats tradition, then you're in the right place. Make sure to like the video, share it with someone who loves history as much as you do, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. Before Mukden, war was something you could see. Artillery dominated battlefields, but it operated in a world of visibility. Guns were placed on high ground. Crews aimed directly at targets they could observe. At Waterloo, at Gettysburg, at countless battlefields before the 20th century, artillery was as much about presence as it was about firepower. You saw your enemy. You understood where death was coming from. That visibility shaped everything, from tactics to morale. Russia entered the Russo-Japanese War confident in that system. It had numbers, experience, and the largest standing army in the world. Japan, however, had spent decades studying Western military doctrine and refining it in ways no one had fully grasped. By the time both armies converged near Mukden in 1905, Japan had built something fundamentally different. Not just better guns, but a better system. What Japan introduced wasn't obvious at first glance. There were no revolutionary weapons on display, and, well, no dramatic technological leap visible to the naked eye. The transformation was hidden beneath the surface, literally. Thousands of miles of insulated telephone wire stretched across the battlefield, connecting observers, artillery batteries, and command positions into a single, coordinated network. This wasn't improvisation. It was a carefully engineered system designed to survive combat conditions, complete with redundancy to keep communication alive even under heavy fire. Then came the real shift. Japanese artillery wasn't placed on high ground. It was hidden behind ridgelines, completely out of sight. The gunners couldn't see the battlefield. They didn't need to. They operated on data, angles, distances, calculations relayed through field telephones. The act of aiming was no longer visual. It was mathematical. At the centre of this system was the forward observer. Positioned with a clear view of Russian positions, equipped with a telescope and a telephone, he became the eyes of the entire artillery network. He watched where shells landed, adjusted coordinates, and redirected fire in real time. Within seconds, multiple batteries could concentrate on a single target from different angles, delivering devastating accuracy without ever exposing themselves. This created something, well, truly unprecedented. The battlefield split into two realities. One soldier could see everything but couldn't fire. Another could fire but couldn't see. The connection between them, the wire, the calculations, became the weapon itself. For Russian forces, this was more than just a tactical problem. It was, in fact, psychological collapse. Soldiers trained to react to visible threats suddenly faced something they couldn't locate or understand. There was no direction to take cover from, no enemy line to flank, no position to suppress. Some units didn't break because of casualties. They broke because their training no longer applied. Experience meant nothing in a world where the rules had changed overnight. The Battle of Mukden lasted 3 weeks and stretched across a massive front, involving hundreds of thousands of troops. Japanese artillery didn't just destroy Russian guns, it dismantled the entire structure of their defense. Without artillery support, infantry units lost their ability to hold ground. As Japanese forces pressed in from both flanks, the Russian army began to unravel. By March 10th, the retreat was, well, inevitable. Equipment was abandoned, positions collapsed. Not in chaos, but in recognition that the system holding the army together had already failed. The consequences went far beyond the battlefield. Within months, the war ended with a treaty that honestly shocked the world. A major European power had been decisively defeated by an Asian nation. But the deeper impact wasn't political, it was doctrinal. Military observers from across the world had been watching. They saw what happened at Mukden. They studied it. And they went home and rebuilt their armies around it. Within a decade, the invisible system Japan had pioneered became standard practice. Field telephones, forward observers, indirect fire, coordinated artillery networks, all of it spread rapidly. By the time the First World War erupted, this method defined how artillery was used. The creeping barrages of the Western Front, the devastating long-range bombardments, the industrial scale of destruction, they all traced back to the same idea proven at Mukden. The real legacy of that battle isn't just the defeat of an empire. It's the moment war stopped being something you could fully see. Control shifted to those who could connect information, calculate outcomes, and strike without being exposed. Mukden marked the point where mathematics began to dominate the battlefield, where invisibility became power, and where the side that controlled what couldn't be seen gained the advantage that would define modern warfare for generations. If this kind of hidden turning point is the reason you watch history, make sure you're subscribed. Share this with someone who thinks they already know how war evolved. Because the real story isn't always the loudest one. It's the one no one saw coming.